last time we were like just, creaming our jeans at how great the ARK has become and how it's defied our expectations. If somebody out there is a little bit resistant to that idea and is, kind of getting tied up in all the science faux pas, think back to when Marvel was coming out with this slate of shows, WandaVision, the Hawkeyes, the Lokis.
Yay.
Here's what people would do. They'd watch the previews and then using their knowledge of canonical comic resources, they'd say, they're going to, it's going to be Dr. Doom or it's going to be Kang or it's going to be Mephisto. Mephisto was a big one that everybody makes fun of.
Right.
Everybody would come up with all these really great stories that turned out to be just infinitely better than what the show actually was able to put forth. Even if you happen to like, I know you liked a little bit of WandaVision, but as far as like the big, like what they could have done, and if a real comic fan would have written them, they completely just dropped the ball, right?
WandaVision started off amazing, and then every episode got a little more boring.
And so the ARK, notably, is the exact opposite. Admittedly, it benefits from us having zero expectations going in. In fact, our expectations were really, really bad. So it can only go up, but also our plots and our anticipations and our saying what's going to happen and not going to happen. It's like when the ARK finally is like, surprise, motherfucker, it's better. They constantly are upping their game and they're defying our expectations. They're like the opposite of Marvel. They're anti-Marvel.
They really are. I was watching and 80% of this episode, I was like, okay, this one's okay, but it's a little pedestrian. But then the end hits. And boom, like a ton of bricks, it just drops on you. And oh my God.
First thing we see is that we have a time jump. They have a time jump. They're jumping not 3 months.
3.2 Earth months.
Yeah, 3.2.
What other months are you using?
It would have been 90 and then 0.2 of a month is like 6 days or 6 times 5 is 30. Yeah. So it's like 96 days. They could have just said 96.
You're using Earth time on the ship. You're from Earth.
Yeah, no, what the fuck is an Earth month? There's no other month. No other month exists. Why are the Earth months? It's weird.
Giving the show the benefit of the doubt, possibly they may be trying to switch their body clocks to Proxima B time for when they get there.
Oh, and maybe they know what Proxima B months are.
However, being a big science nerd, something I know about Proxima Centauri is that it is a red dwarf sun, which means it is very small, which means that Proxima B, which does exist and is a planet, is extremely close, closer than Mercury is to our sun, and is tidally locked.
So there would be a dark side.
One side faces the sun all the time. One side faces the dark all the time. There's no months. There's no days. It's all the same day.
So there's no Proxima B months.
I mean, it's way closer than Mercury, and Mercury's 88 days.
They should call that shit a month, just one lap around. Just change their nomenclature.
That could work. Oh, okay. Hey, maybe they're doing that. Maybe that's the plan.
We're going to assume the show is smarter than we are. So they got a time jump, and my first thought is, in that time, they kind of acknowledge that it's been relatively peaceful, not that much has happened. But I figure they've had to have had at least like 2 or 3 more death trap lockdowns that killed like half a dozen red shirts. I mean, the crew is a little bit lighter now because 3.2 months go by. They're going to lose some red shirts, right?
Most likely. Somebody clogged a toilet and the whole ship locked down.
Lockdowns. Whenever I see them get into the whole like doctors on drugs stuff, I always groan. But I think there has been a positive resolution. So hopefully we don't see much of that anymore. That seems to have been resolved. She's like out in the open, telling the captain about it.
And I loved the scene where Felix confronts her with it, because he is throwing his big balls around, man. He is laying down what's going on and what we're going to do. And I'm like, yeah, you tell her, Felix, you handle this situation. And boom.
Well, that's one of the hints that I have that it's been a relatively unexciting 3 months for Felix, because he finally, after accusing like half the crew, he finally got the murderer. And then, like, here's the intervening 3.2 months. I think he's been looking for shit to do. I'm sure the illegal raid was probably shut down within the first week after things started going crazy.
Oh, he's on top of that, yeah.
After he shut that down, he's got not much else to do. So he's looking to, like, do you want me to help with your engine or, restock the shuttle? And finally he sees the doctor needs help and he's like, oh, yes, I can do this. I was getting excited because as television has taught us, when you're going to get off drugs, you need a montage.
That's absolutely true. Yes. Where was that?
I think there's a possibility they might redress the situation next episode and have the requisite montage. Or maybe they just skipped it. Maybe they're like, fuck you, conventional TV tropes. We're going to do our own thing.
That very well could be. Plus, because, she's a secondary main. She's really had no major plots around her or anything. They'll just kind of leave it to the side.
I know. And it's been 3 months and she still hasn't gotten any sleep and still hasn't trained any assistants.
And that's why Felix has to come in and take charge of the situation.
I think she's just a dumb person.
I think so. She's just one of those people who gets stressed and then doesn't listen to anyone else.
Bryce collapses. And apparently Eva, in addition to being hot as fuck and only weighing about 100 pounds, is able to drag Bryce to his bunk and get him up in it. So good for Eva.
She has got serious strength.
That Serbian worker peasant strength.
Yeah, she's one of those ones who could pop out a baby and get right back to field work.
I was thinking before the revelation that it was Eva with her flowing red hair looking all fine and shit. But before she said that, I thought there was going to be some kind of alien thing and a sleepwalking taking over his mind when he's unconscious thing. But no, they didn't do that.
Yeah, I thought it would have something to do with the crystal shit that has clearly been absorbed into his blood.
And the previous few times where the doctor confronts Bryce and says, your medical thing is too perfect. It looks fake. You need to come see me. We always were like, oh, he's trying to hide the alien shit. But it turns out he's just hiding a terminal degenerative something disease.
He's got a made-up degenerative condition, yeah.
Yeah. And the first thing he does when he wakes up out of the bunk is he wakes up the security assistant.
Which, by the way, we finally learned her name.
Yelena!
Yelena, yes! Every episode I learn a new name.
That's such a sexy name.
Oh, Yelena.
That's almost as good as Svetlana.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So yeah, good on her. She had a good episode. She had 2 lines and we learned her name and that was awesome. At the beginning of the episode, when it gets to Spencer Lane, I'm like, wow, he's putting on a good facade. They've gotten real chummy over the last 3 months, but we all know that deep down inside, he's got some ulterior motives.
Is it a facade?
That's just it. Throughout the episode, I came to say, no, he actually is getting along with Garnett, does like being her XO, does respect her as the captain now after, 3 months of working with her, and does feel, all conflicted and guilty about the whole trust secret,
Yeah, because it's weighing on him heavily and causing physical symptoms with the stress of keeping this secret that he doesn't even know if he should be keeping it. And so, of course, he goes and visits Counselor Troy.
She has really small parts and really small scenes, but they're usually really funny.
There's something more going on with her, where she's looking over the DNA samples of the crew, and her reaction to him telling her his big secret was off. It seemed wrong.
So, plausible, not that nefarious reasons she's checking the crew DNA is she's looking for somebody to breed with. That way she can breed out the f***ed up head,
I think it's just burn scars. Maybe she got radiated into a pretzel or something.
Then why is she checking the DNA? What's she doing? What's she up to?
She's up to something.
Do you think she was happy to hear that Trust was on board, or she doesn't hate him? She doesn't want to kill him. She's not one of those people that she points out that a lot of people are.
Oh, no. I have a theory based in part on this. And so,
okay, we'll get
discuss.
We'll get back to it. Okay. It's got to the point where I like the show enough that I'm actually willing to forgive and kind of plug my ears and go la 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 whenever they start talking about flying the spaceship or solar sail or slingshotting.
Speaking of the slingshot maneuver, Proxima Centauri is the closest star to Earth. So mathematically speaking, how many stars are between Proxima Centauri and Earth?
I'm guessing the answer is 0.
0. What star were they using? Okay, here's a theory. What if they've been asleep for a lot longer than they thought they were, which is why they're completely out of position and they're at a point where there are stars between them and Proxima?
Oh, that's a good theory. They've been asleep for hundreds of years instead of...
They're off near Tau Ceti or something. And that's why they're running into all these other stars that just should not be there. You can't hide stars. They don't sneak up on you.
And also, they have demonstrated the ability to stop and start on a dime. Obviously, they've conquered the forces of acceleration, deceleration. Yet in this episode, when convenient and dramatic, they feel the acceleration. They're pushed back into their seats. You know why? Because they do that on The Expanse. The writers don't know why exactly that's happening, but they know that when you're in a spaceship in a cool, like hard sci-fi show, that happens.
Right.
So solar sails. First of all, what could that possibly do to help the ship?
Yeah.
If you have a solar sail deployed and like after months and months and months of having it deployed, you might build up enough aggregate speed, but they're able to stop and start on a dime. So that makes no sense. Also,
usually they're going to be hundreds of kilometers wide.
Solar sails are ginormous. They're massive things. Those little retarded sails they popped out, they would not do shit.
Yeah, I could see them as like solar energy collectors, maybe. That might be handy to have, but
they could collect solar energy. That's cool, but it wouldn't push the ship.
They wouldn't actually push anything. Yeah.
My thought when all this was going on is I wish they'd just drop their pretense of trying to be Newtonian.
Yeah, if they just forgot it.
Stargate doesn't fuck around trying to be hard sci-fi, and it's fine. Star Trek doesn't fuck around, and it's fine.
Yeah.
This show just needs to stop doing that. It's punching out of its weight class. Did you get a chance to read that article?
That was an excellent article. I loved every minute of that article, just how dedicated they were to getting the science right.
The thing about it is, I think you were the one who pointed this out, is that the designers, the set design, there's probably competing things pulling in different directions. So the guys designing this were like, yeah, we're going to do this, and it's going to be great, and it'll look like this, and it'll work like this, and have all the science figured out. And then the scriptwriters come along and just fuck it all up.
I think it was the effects company.
Because they were only able to make such and such happen?
Yeah, the things going on outside the ship were supposed to be vastly different from what we're actually seeing. But they ran out of money. They had to hire like a cut rate, Serbian backroom deal to just get all this finished.
That seems likely. I mean, there was obviously a disconnect from the start of the project. So they probably were like good faith trying to expanse the shit out of this show.
Like 2/3 of the people working on this are trying very hard to be the new Expanse.
And then some slick exec, some producer exec dude comes in from the studio and is like, nope, cut that shit.
It'll be fine. We'll just do it like this. That costs us like $500 less to do it like this.
It's better that it's like this, though. It's funnier. The article is the sci-fi.com article. It's from recently, and it's about the designer of the ship. And there's like a big picture cutaway model, and it's kind of cool looking into that stuff. It's an interesting article. I'll post a link. As I'm reading it, I try to keep myself from rolling my eyes at all the bullshit that's coming out of this, because, he probably felt that way and then was let down by the final product. So,
oh, sure.
Yeah. And the biggest thing that I did notice from the very, very first picture in the article says the craft is made up of different distinct sections with forward deployable section able to detach and operate as an independent spacecraft.
Yes, cannot wait for that to happen.
It's going to be like when the Enterprise in the very first episode of The Next Generation split for really dubious reasons. It's going to be like that. They're going to split off. And they haven't even mentioned that they could do it.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't even know.
That implies a whole set of additional engines that they could have used to maybe turn the ship around when they really would have needed to.
That's true. Maybe they have solar sails. I don't know. But anyway, that was a fun article.
Can't wait. That's got to be awesome when that happens.
Keeping in mind that it's been 3.2 months, I don't really mind Eva being all flirty with Bryce now. I had a real problem with it before because it was like 3.2 days after her husband died, and they had like this weird flirty interaction, and I called it out. We all called it out.
Yeah.
Now, 3 months later, it's been a busy 3 months,
They've resisted the vibe up to this point, yes.
She's got needs, and her hair is all flowy and silky and kind of reddish and awesome.
Oh, yeah. Plus, she felt up his pecs when she was hauling him back into bed.
I wonder if they're going to have some kind of thing like that, like in Firefly when Malcolm Reynolds gets knocked out by kissing Saffron, and Inara, he's unconscious and she kisses him, and then she goes unconscious, and he thinks that Inara kissed Saffron, and he gets like his lesbo per vibe on. That was funny. Maybe something like that'll happen.
We can only hope. So
Lane returns to the vault, and he finds the hidden button that opens up. It's a hidden vault, and there's DNA, and I'm like, wait, doesn't the ARK already have that? Why is this a big revelatory thing?
Why is it hidden? That should just be a thing.
That's the only reason to have your ARK is to have all the... Yeah, that was weird.
I'd hesitate to say that maybe they're backups, but because it's the ARK and there are no backups.
That's just something you do when you're going to another planet is you bring the DNA. I mean, so probably the writers and the people involved in that scene just haven't read enough normal sci-fi to realize that's something you do. The sails are deployed and they're doing their thing and, oh no, there was a solar flare. First of all, how close are to the sun? Second of all, how tiny is that solar flare? That was like a pinpoint sniper solar flare that only hit one sail. Solar flares are like the size of planets.
I don't think they know what a solar flare is.
That was just weird. They needed some justification for Garnet to go and tardigrade her shit up.
That just was not a thing that could happen. That was just... Oh, God bless you, ARK, but did you look up the Wikipedia entry on what a solar flare is?
So as they're doing their whip around maneuver, I really liked how they were all getting like real sweaty. Like Eva, she gets down to the tank top, and Alicia's like, "Yeah, let me get my sports bra on." Everybody's just all glistening.
Let's show a little skin. Oh yeah.
I do want to make brief mention that she was not in focus and no one talked to her. But when everybody was all sweaty and tank topped up on the bridge, there was some really big titted blonde standing in the background.
Oh.
Right? She needs to get some lines or a name or something.
We must find this woman, yes.
They're not using their potential. I have written with an exclamation point, tardigrade time.
Yeah!
It's tardigrade time.
Because when they're discussing what to do about it, I'm like, I hope nobody here is a tardigrade.
She ends up back in the med room with like yogurt all over her face.
Oh yeah, she looked really grisly there.
Do you know what a strawberry shortcake is?
Like the food?
You find it on the same site where they define what a dirty Sanchez is.
Okay. No, I don't. I don't think I need that information in my head. Once again, Felix just laying it down hardcore. He is in charge here now.
I like how he's like really like he buttons the top collar of his thing, and when he's doing the medical thing, he puts on the little white vest. Like if he was a Boy Scout, his uniform would be like absolutely perfect. If he worked at Safeway, he'd have like the best, cleanest uniform. He's like a real just uniform guy,
Takes himself and his job very seriously, no matter what he's doing. And that really makes him a cool character. I like Felix more with every episode.
Maybe it was 2 episodes ago, but it's when he's talking to drugged out doctor and he's like, I can help you. I've had some medical training. He's like, I can run a pick line. And I'm like, well, that's pretty skilled. Maybe the future's different. Maybe they have like self-tunneling magic tech or something like that. That's like a specialized skill that people get paid pretty good money for.
That is not a field medic thing. Yeah. I'm going to assume if he made it halfway through medical school.
It came down to a tough decision with him and his husband about they could either finish medical school or butler school. And they decided to go with butler school.
His drive to become a butler was much stronger.
Somebody had to watch the kid while one of them was off at school, and they decided med school would be like 5 years longer than butlering school. So my next note is I was way off on Lane. He legitimately cares about the captain. We already kind of touched on that.
Yeah. He's becoming more of a person and more of an adult.
He was likable this episode. I liked him. This is the first episode where I liked him.
He needs a position and he needs authority, and given with that, he's thriving.
Kind of a good/bad thing. We like Lane more as a character. I don't groan whenever he gets on screen and starts acting like a D-bag. But also, have they given up a really awesome plot line where he's trying to like kill the captain?
Maybe. I think they've laid a seed in where he will have future doubts against what's going to now be his friend.
All right, is it time to talk about the big finale, the big reveal?
Oh, fucking A right.
We were probably going through the same like emotions. We're like, oh, here it comes. They're going to find aliens.
Yeah, there's going to be like an alien city on the other side of the planet is what I was thinking.
And ARK's like, no, we're doing the Pegasus trope.
There's another ARK! What?
Oh! And that's all they gave us. First thoughts after the initial just, oh, holy shit, that just happened thoughts were, and you probably have the same. Number one, that's ARK 5.
Yeah, it's got to be.
That's obviously ARK 5.
Plus, I freeze framed it, and it's ARK 5.
Oh, did it say ARK 5?
Yes.
Oh, all right. That will help in the edit. And second thought was the trust aboard ARK 1 is a clone.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking there's a Trust clone on every ARK.
Yeah, because he wanted to survive.
And it makes me wonder if perhaps the entire ship is clones.
There's going to be a Garnet over there, and there's going to be... But then those ships probably didn't have the same destruction, unless they did, because that was part of Trust's whole program. I don't know.
What if ARK 1 was a test ship? They sent it out full of clones with all sorts of shit wrong with it, just to prove out some technologies and see how shit worked before they sent out ARK 5.
Wow, God, what if all of the ARKs were programmed to wake up the crew at the same time after blowing the command capsule? Those are far beyond actually what I was contemplating. My biggest thought is they're going to contact the ARK, and when the screen comes on, it's going to be Trust talking to them.
That's what I'm thinking. Or it'll be Sharon.
Oh, yes. Denise!
The Sharon
we were
Denise
wrong
thing.
The whole time.
Yes.
Oh, holy balls. Wow, yeah.
Everybody on the ship is a clone, and what really makes me think that is an episode ago where Blondie was looking over the crew's DNA database.
You think she suspects the problem?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not come up with a lot of those, so that's good. They could get freaky.
Oh, they can.
So there's 2 Evas? There's a whole bunch of clone Evas out there?
I'm wondering if it's the same crew on every ARK.
Do you think we'll ever see Eva have sex with herself?
Oh, God, yes.
Sweet. What if, when they establish communication next episode, they're all like crystalled up and Borged with crystal alien tech?
That very well could be.
What if it's Locutus? Going back to what I said at the start of this recording when I was talking about like the Marvel shows, and I think we've reached a point where they've put enough stuff out there where we're just like coming up with all these really cool ideas. I mean, do you think when next Wednesday comes around and we start watching, it's going to be as good as the shit we're saying right now? Could it possibly be?
You know what? It's the ARK. The ARK pulls miracles sometimes.